Sis, if you were bought into this whole idea about being a lazypreneur, I'm here to tell you that that's not the case at all. Trust and believe, okay? What I need you to know is that you're not lazy, you're not inconsistent, you're not any of those descriptive terms, okay? What you are is someone who is out of alignment, okay? Very misaligned right now with the kind of business you were meant to build in the way in which you were meant to build it. That's the honest to God truth. Now, that's just a short, quick skimmy of it all, but we're going to get down and dirty with this, okay? But I want to kind of debunk this whole lazy myth thing because it is a such thing, this term that's going around, and it's been for a while, which is why I've been talking a lot on my channel about this whole lazypreneur thing. And so we're going to get into it. But before we do, I want to say, listen, if you are new to me or true to me, welcome or welcome back. I appreciate you being here. And if we have not yet met, my name is Katrina Marie. I am also known as the Boss Chick Biz Coach and your fearless leader. I'm a holistic business coach and an RN health and wellness educator. I also deem myself as a freedom strategist. And so I work closely with successful corporate career women, and I also teach those types of women, in addition to high achieving women entrepreneurs, how to build an online, or I should say, an aligned and profitable online brand and business that is, in alignment with your passion and purpose, but more importantly, prioritizes your health, healing, and happiness. And so I, again, want to make sure that we are having these conversations that, it's kind of like conversations that are being had either secretly or silently, right? Or kind of amongst, small groups of people, or something you may be thinking about when you're kind of just working independently and in silos, right? But I want to have these conversations out loud so we can normalize having these conversations and also talk about some of the things that you are going through right now, what you're struggling with, and how we can get you out of this. Again, whole idea of you being a lazypreneur, because that is not the business, okay? And that is not what you are. So here's the truth. Lots of times, high achieving women in particularly, and I work again with high achieving, ambitious women, very type A personalities, okay? Overachievers, high achievers, all the things, okay? And it's, you may be someone like many of the women I work with who feel ashamed or who feel some shame around when their drive dips. And here's the thing, it's normal for your drive to dip. That it's normal in life. It's normal when you went to school, right, for a higher education. It's higher. It may be true when you're working in the same career for a while. It may be true, or in the same type of job, right? It may be true when you're in a relationship. It's also true in business that the drive you once had, the excitement you once felt, the exhilaration that was once there, the spark that you used to have, the passion, the drive, the hunger fizzles out, right? And you're starting to feel like, man, my light is dim. And now I don't know how to really get that fire back, that desire back, that hunger back, that excitement back. And so you think, okay, am I lazy? Am I just inconsistent now? Do I just not want to do this thing anymore? Should I throw in the towel? And that's why I'm saying this is normal, a normal part of normal life process, right? So, and particularly, like I said, if you are working or in a relationship long term, this happens. If you are, in some sort of the same career long period of time, these are things that are normal. Okay, there's nothing wrong with you at all. So you don't need to feel shame around when your drive dips. Okay. And the reason why this happens, by the way, is usually because your work no longer feels like, maybe you don't feel like you're being authentic to yourself, like you're not being true to who you are at the core of your being, right? And you're no longer feeling aligned and fulfilled for that reason or for other reasons. Okay. There could be many other reasons. I'm just giving you a couple of things to think about that may be applicable to you with where you are right now. So, alignment does really and truly manifest itself in many ways. How? Well, constant exhaustion, procrastination, second guessing yourself, resentment towards clients, just disliking the offers that you have. The way that you used to do business once upon a time may no longer be working or serving you well, right? Maybe that's what used to work post COVID, or excuse me, pre COVID. And now, years after COVID, you're like, that worked then, or that worked when I first started my business, but that's not working for me now. Like that used to light me up before. And maybe, part of the reason for that is because back when you were in hustle culture, like many of us started out, myself included. And when I was back in, starting my business in the hustle mode, right? I wore that hustle hard and hustle culture thing like a badge of honor. I really and truly did. Okay. Like I bought into hustle culture too. And so as I was striving for excellence, as I was hustling my way to the top, striving towards success and all of the things, right? Wearing all the hats and doing all the things and thinking that was sexy. It was not. Okay. And I decided one day when I realized how misaligned I was, because I got in touch and in tune with my feelings, I dealt with those emotions. I healed through that and I changed the whole, like the way that I thought about working. And I wanted to embrace ease, especially once I, was over 40 years old, like, especially as I got close to being 50 years old. And now that I'm over 50, it's like, no, darling, that's not what we're doing over here. Okay. So you might be in a similar situation, especially if you're of age like I am, over 40, 50, 60 or beyond, and you're running a business and you're just like, this ain't the business at all. You know what I mean? So I just need you to know how normal this is, meaning that it's normal for you to feel the way you are right now. And so do many other entrepreneurs, especially if you are a parallelpreneur, meaning you work a job, a demanding corporate career, maybe in a leadership role or some other front facing, I don't know, high status role in the corporate arena, and or you are also running, operating your business. Or if you're a solopreneur and you're just rolling solo, working by yourself, team of one, team of maybe two, you and an assistant perhaps, or a small team, or what have you, whatever the scenario is for you. I'm sure you can understand where I'm coming from, right? So if you're feeling like, okay, I'm not sure where I need to go with this and how I can pivot or what I need to do exactly at this point in time, this is where you need to work with a business coach who can actually help you map things out. You need to utilize someone as your sounding board, someone who has already, been down the path that you're on right now, who's been exactly where you are right now, and they understand your struggles, right? And so you shouldn't struggle alone. And you also need to get in community so that you will really feel and know for sure you're not in this thing alone, darling, at all. Okay. There are so many other women that are right where you are right now. But sometimes, again, when you're working and you're isolating yourself and you're not like kind of getting out there and getting in community, it could feel like you're going through these things alone. Okay. And you need not feel that way when there are so many other people out there who are going through the same or similar kind of challenges. Okay. So, and that have succeeded through that, and they're on the other side of it now, and now me as a coach in the community can help you out and pull you forward, right? So that's who you need on your side. Here's the thing too, it's not always about discipline. Okay. Now, I always say if you're not motivated, because I'm a self-motivated person, but there's not every day that I'm motivated. Okay. Sometimes I don't feel like doing crap. Okay. I don't feel like doing all the things that's required of me as a business owner, but it has to get done. And I'm usually the person who has to do it, the CEO stuff, that is. Okay. I leave the other time consuming, tedious tasks to my team. But I'm talking about the things that I have to do as a CEO because that's not my team's responsibility. I signed up for this, but there are days that I don't feel like doing it, right? Just like when I was in corporate America as a leader, I didn't feel like doing certain things that came with my job. There are aspects of it that we might love and that we feel rewarded, doing it. It feels rewarding. It feels like, it does light us up. We feel passionate about those aspects. And then there are those things that not so much, right? So I'm just saying again, that's a normal thing. So it's not always about motivation or being motivated, because when you're not motivated, you still have to be disciplined. But I'm also saying it's not always about discipline. Sometimes it's about direction. Okay. Sometimes it's about direction. So when you're building something from a place of ego or people pleasing or outdated goals and strategies, your soul will rebel. Okay, your soul will rebel. Now, before we go any deeper into this discussion, if you're getting what I'm giving and you love these gems I'm dropping, go ahead and leave a comment right now so we can get this discussion popping, because beyond this video, I want to make sure we are still having the dialogue, and I would love to know where it is you are in the journey right now and if any of this is resonating with you and what hits home hardest. All right? So, and I also want you to subscribe to my channel if you're getting value from my content. Make sure you subscribe and hit the notification bell so that you don't miss any episode whenever I drop new content and or go live. All right, now back to business. So what I wanted to say next to you is that alignment activates energy. Alignment activates energy. Okay, so that means when you are aligned with your passion and your purpose, when you are aligning your passion and purpose to a profitable problem, you have the power, you have the energy, and your momentum almost instantaneously returns. Your energy is up, your spirits are lifted when the momentum is there, because you're getting your drive back, you're getting your mojo back when you are aligned. So alignment really does matter. Okay? Alignment really does matter. And so I had a client not that long ago, actually, okay, and I don't name for this purposes of, keeping my clients' information private and confidential. I would never breach that confidentiality that we share between us. And so I'm not going to disclose any names, and no need. But I can always share the scenario that might be helpful to you. And so I had a client who felt like she was lazy, like she kept saying, and she really convinced herself, I'm a lazypreneur. I'm just lazy. I don't like to do this and that. I just want it the easy way. I want simple. I want this. I want that. I just, I'm not up to it. I just feel like I'm just lazy now. Maybe I'm getting older and I'm getting lazy. And that word just kept coming up, right? And that's what I'm hearing a lot of. And so the other thing is she was being inconsistent, and she felt like, well, okay, is it really inconsistency because I'm lazy? Am I lazy, or am I just being inconsistent? Am I just unmotivated? Is it all of the above? Is it a combination? Like, what is this, right? And the reality is that she just needed to restructure her business. She needed to actually not even really restructure her business. She needed to do a slight pivot, yes. She needed to renew and reassess her business model, right? She needed to put some other structures in place, and she needed to work with some effective strategies that were outdated that she had been using since, like I said earlier, pre-COVID, that used to work then, but it's not working now. And so she just didn't want to take the time because she was exhausted and burnt out. So she didn't feel like she had the bandwidth to do one more thing and put one more thing on her plate. So she just kept working and operating her business the way she always had. But what worked for her then that got her to this point isn't what's necessarily going to get her to the next point or the next height, right? And so she had to switch things around. So when we sat down and went through, what was working well and why, and what wasn't working so well and why, and we like really peeled back those layers of what was going on internally with her and what was happening in her business, and we just like talked through that and did a deeper dive. It really helped to us to hone in on the right things and focus on the things that mattered, not so much the things that did not. And so, yes, she was unmotivated, and yes, she was feeling lazy, because she just because she was not operating from a place of alignment and a higher level of awareness. Okay. So we had to restructure her offer, is really what it boiled down to match her current passions and to help her find that burning desire again, and get her excited again, the way she once felt when she first started, the way many of us feel when we first start before we hit that dip, right? And so when we hit the dip, it does feel like, we just don't want to do it anymore. We want to throw in the towel, or we want to go to something new because we keep seeking that dopamine hit that we once felt in the beginning when we were lit up, right? So it just becomes this never ending maddening cycle, staying in this loop going back down to the dip, trying something new, or just not doing the thing or addressing the real issue and just doing that repeatedly again and again. Whereas we want to relentlessly pursue improvement so that we can reach the place of being successful and feeling fulfilled. But we cannot do that if we're not addressing the real issue, hopefully before we get to the dip. But if you're already in it, there's still hope and there's still a way out of this seemingly deep, dark place. Okay. So, yes, once we changed up her, restructured her offer and matched it to her passions and what she felt her purpose really was about, and she was still in alignment with that, that's when things changed for her. In my own story, just giving another quick example, I remember doing this too. There was a time where I was heavy in the hustle, like heavy in the hustle. And like I said earlier, as I shared very briefly, I was proud of that because I grew up, working hard and I'm resourceful and I can make anything happen. And this is what we do over here. And I was singing, I'm a hustler, baby. You know what I'm saying? Like it was all like whatever I had to do to pump myself up. I bought into those horrible messages that we hear about sleep when you're dead, go home or go hard. Like, all of these horrible messages that I would never tell anybody to build their business doing these things or with these messages that I once regurgitated with ease and followed myself, right? I would never tell women, especially women, because that is so not operating in our feminine energy. And that's a lot of times why we feel misaligned, because we're working in from a dominant place, right? Masculine energy, but it's overkill. So I digress. Getting back to my story in particularly though, when I first started, this was after I actually hired my first business coach, and I've hired many since, right? I'm 9 years in, so I definitely have hired different business coaches for different things, different seasons, and different iterations of my business. But when I first started, and when I first hired my first business coach, I was taught to DM people. And I don't mean doing sleazy DMs, right? This is not just about cold. It was people that I didn't necessarily know, right? But it was done ethically, meaning I got into the DMs. I built relationships with them on social media. At the time, Facebook was my thing. I wasn't really on YouTube very much. I think I had a YouTube, but I didn't do much with it. I didn't even know how YouTube really worked. So my focus was on Facebook prior to me running ads or any of that. And so I would build a relationship with people, I'd get to know them, and I would genuinely get in their DMs and have a conversation and ask them what their needs were, what their pain points were. Like I didn't say it necessarily that way, but in conversation, you can hear it because people talk. And from there, I would pitch them, right? Now, I didn't know these people very well initially, but because I made the connection with them on social media, Facebook, prior to even Instagram, then it was easy for me to have a conversation with them in Messenger and kind of go back and forth that way and then invite them to a call. And so that was called like the cherry picking method. That's what I learned. Now that worked for me then, but it was a hustle. I'm not going to tell a lie. It was a hustle. And so that doesn't work for me now. Okay. There was a point in time in my business where I had a dry season and I tried to go back to that method that I first learned. And yes, it does work, but it really felt like a hustle, especially after I had been running ads. And I haven't in a while, but at the time I was heavily running, into running ads, had a whole and still do have an ads team. So when we resume that, I already have a team in place. But oh my gosh, in comparison, that is a lot of work. So that is not something that works for me now, but it is something that works. It is a strategy. It is a real strategy that some people swear by and they still do. But most of those people are still subscribed to hustle culture. Okay. That's not me anymore. And so once I unsubscribed from hustle culture, then that was no longer my thing. And it was very difficult for me to go back. Right. It's kind of like going back to a bad relationship. Once you already know the relationship is toxic, or once you leave a job and you get a taste of freedom, you never want to go back. You know what I'm saying? So that's true for me, and that might be true for you. So I would say to assess your business where it is now, where do you stand now? What do you feel now? What emotions are coming up for you that you're not dealing with? And where does that stem from? What is the underlying issue really? And if you're having a difficult time doing that alone, that assessment piece, because you do need to assess, there's no other way around it. If you don't take a closer look, like get, comb things with the fine tooth comb, right? And really pull out that what is it called? It's right at the tip of my tongue. Magnet or what is it? Not magnet. You know what I'm trying to say. Magnifying glass. I'm like, what is it? Magnifying glass. Thank you. Okay. Um, I would just look at that very closely and like completely, thoroughly, like just look through what's working well for you and what isn't and why. Okay. If again you can't do that alone, then you need to get somebody who can help you figure out where what why it's not working for you and ask you the hard questions that you may not be asking yourself. And everything starts with the truth. So you've got to be honest with yourself before anybody else can help you, because if you're not letting yourself in, right, you're not going to let anybody else in. But here's the thing: get intentional, make aligned moves that feel lighter to you, because when you do that, you're able to make a bigger impact, right? And a greater income. Unless and until you do that, you're always going to feel stuck where you are because you're not doing the work that's necessary and focused on the right things in order to get away from where you are right now. So if you're ready to build a business that feels like a soulful yes again, right? That feels like, you're passionate about this thing, that feels like it's lighting you up, it's exciting again. You feel happy and all the things that you once felt when you first started. If you want to go back to that feeling, book a Freedom and Focus Clarity call with me. Let's get on a Zoom together, have the conversation, like peel back the layers, like, lay everything out on the table, discuss where it is you are right now, where it is you ultimately want to be. Let's figure out how we can create map things out for you, create a blueprint, and then talk about ways in which I can support you. Okay. So that's what I want you to do today. All right. Now, I'm going to tune out while you tune in. Be sure to share this video out with at least 3 friends and watch the next video that YouTube recommends. As always, and until next time, I am wholeheartedly in this journey with you. Bye for now.